The best cinema lenses that are affordable. Today we're going to talk about lenses, these lenses. They're by far my favorite lenses to use for any project, and they are called the Leica Rs. So these are really cool lenses. They're old, they're vintage, they're photo lenses that have now been rehoused to be cinema lenses. I've used these lenses on every type of project that you can think of. I've shot Wendy's commercials on them. I've done short films, I've done music videos, I've done corporate videos. They are versatile. So why nice lenses? Why pay money to rent nice lenses or to buy nice lenses? Why don't you just use, a typical Sony zoom lens or a Canon zoom lens? What's the difference? Well, certain lenses have certain characteristics. Some lenses are sharp, some are soft, some have magenta tints to them, some have defects in the lenses that cinematographers and DPs and directors look for because it adds character to the footage. So these lenses are vintage, which means they don't have that super crisp video look that you are used to seeing a lot of the times. They give you a bit of that vintage look, but they're still sharp. Most of us are shooting on digital cameras, and these lenses kind of offset that video digital look that most of us are used to seeing on most of our projects. So you can still shoot digital, but get that vintage filmy look. So these lenses aren't absolutely absurd to rent or to buy. You can get a full kit, which I think is like 7 or 8 lenses for anywhere between 12 to 20,000. And I know sometimes that sounds like a lot, but you're talking about 7 or 8 lenses, and lenses hold their value, unlike cameras. You buy a camera, 2 years later, it's obsolete. Lenses aren't that way. You can buy a set of lenses, especially these vintage ones, and they're gonna hold their value for a long time, if not go up. To rent a full set is anywhere between $250 to $300 a day. These lenses are a little rare. You have to do some digging to find them. You can't just go to a local camera store and find these. You're gonna have to go on ShareGrid or some of these rental house sites to be able to find these lenses. Yeah, and again, I think $250 a day for a set of lenses isn't gonna break the bank, and it's gonna add a lot to your project. So they're full frame, which is awesome. So they cover the full sensor on my A7S III. My red helium is Super 35, so it has a bit of a crop to it, but I still use those. I still use these lenses on both cameras, and it looks amazing. One of the cool characteristics of these lenses is the bokeh. The bokeh is gonna be much more unique than your typical zoom lens or Sony or Canon lens. And there's something about these lenses with the separation between your subject and the background. The separation at, let's say, a 50 millimeter, the background is so creamy and beautiful, and I just love looking at footage from these lenses. One of the cool defects and characteristics of these lenses is when you're shooting wide open, you can get what's called chromatic aberration around the edges of your frame. There'll be some defect in the corners of your frame, which I think is really cool, especially depending on what the look you're going for. Another cool thing about these lenses is since they've been rehoused, they all have gears on them. So if you want to put them on a rig and use a follow focus, they all have gears and they're all in the exact same place. So when you switch lenses, you don't have to move your follow focus, you just unhook your follow focus, switch lenses, place it right back. They all line up in the same place. That brings me to the next thing, their manual focus, obviously. So everyone who's used to putting a lens on a Sony a7S III and using the amazing autofocus, unfortunately, you're not gonna get that with these. You're gonna need to pull focus yourself or have a focus puller with a follow focus. Another cool thing is that these are declicked and they have your f-stop right here on the lens to where you don't need to go into your camera settings to change your f-stop. You can just turn the dial on your lens, which actually I love and I think saves a lot of time. One of the big things about these lenses, for cinema lenses, they're extremely small and they're lightweight. This is the 19 millimeter, this is the 80 millimeter, and I think the 100 millimeter is not that much bigger than this. So you're getting an amazing lens, but you're not having to deal with the weight of lenses. A lot of cinema lenses are really heavy, like the Atlas anamorphics or the Cooke S4s. They are extremely big and they're really heavy. These are so small and lightweight that you can put them on a gimbal super easy. You're not killing yourself if you're going handheld. And one of my favorite things is that the front of the lenses are all 77mm and have rings on them. So you can put variable NDs right on the front of the lenses and you don't need a matte box. Most cinema lenses, you're not gonna be able to do that. You're gonna need a matte box with filters and rods, and it just adds a bit of complication, especially if you're floating this on a gimbal. These lenses will compete with a lot of higher end lenses that you're gonna pay, you know, $800 a day for a kit, where with these you're $250, and I just think they're affordable, they're amazing, they're versatile, they're great entry-level cinema lenses, and I suggest everybody try them out if you want to take your footage to the next level. Thanks so much, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share, but more importantly, get out there and go shoot.